Hello and welcome everybody to the See How Many Things We Can Stack on Top of Barry's Head minigame. Let's get right to it. Alright. Sanji's stealth black raid suit canister. Sanji's little chair that he had during the Totland arc. And one Sanji. So, says, oh, okay, so this is where we're gonna have some problems here. Okay, I could do the entire video like this, but I actually have another idea. What if we just... Oh, wow. Oh, okay, yeah, that works great. All right, hey, everybody, how you doing? Today, we're going to be getting into some geography discussions. First, though, I wanted to bring up something. I did a collab with another One Piece YouTuber by the name of KAIOKNUCKLES. You can go check out his channel below, subscribe to him, check out his content. Me and him talked about just Wano, future of the arc, and stuff like that. We did delve a little bit into the spoilers of the most recent chapters, so there's some of that. But we talk about things like, you know, possible groups that might show up at Wano. I talked about that in a video, but I go more detail into it there. And just in general, how do we feel about the fight at Onigashima? So make sure to check that out in the description. Really fun video there. But today we're talking about geography. That's right. Geography is everything on Long Ring Longland. Or the Germa Kingdom. You know, Long Ring Longland, Germa Kingdom, they're basically the same place, right? Okay, so I can already kind of hear some murmurings in the geography community right now, like, oh, Tekking's making a geography as everything on the Germa Kingdom? Does that even count as geography? It's not an island, it's like a man-made structure that, like, attaches and deattaches and travels the sea via giant sea slugs, you know? Hey guys, it's Future Editing Tekking here, just to let you know that even though they're very clearly snails, because they have shells that they hide in, it's very clear, for some reason I call them sea slugs throughout the entirety of this video, so just giving you a heads up, that happens. I think what I originally thought was the slugs were like part of like the mechanical part of the castle was like their shell. And I guess that could in theory still be the case, but no, it still looks like, no, their normal bodies have the shell, and they just built the fortress on top of it, so, I don't know. Just, yeah, I call snails slugs in this video. First off, I just want to say, I mean, it's essentially like a toy. I mean, come on, the motif of the Vinsmokes and the Germa are like, you know, Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider. So the fact that they have a mobile base that can break apart and then combine together like a Megazord, I mean, that works. I mean, the giant sea slug thing, I've seen weirder stuff watching Power Rangers as a kid, so I'm fine with that. I'm just saying, though, it might be a little bit, you might be a little bit dubious, is it geography? I'm like, well, let's go through the criteria for what is and what is not geography. Let's go down that list once again. I keep having to do this, but let's just make sure we're all on the same page here. Is it considered part of everything? Check that box. Okay, it's geography, right? And I own the official book on geography, so I should know. I mean, come on now. If, like, New Zealand sprouted legs tomorrow, like if the bottom part of New Zealand happened to be a giant mechanical crab, and, like, it awoke from its, like, 8 million year slumber, and the crab just woke up and, like, carried the entire island of New Zealand out into the middle of the Pacific, would it not be still considered geography? Be like, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of other questions we need to talk about, like the giant mechanical crab that's underneath New Zealand, but it would still be geography, so I'm counting it, okay? So, the Germa Kingdom originated in the North Blue, which is where the Vinsmokes originated from. So we don't actually know that much about the history, but we know the basics, at least. Judgy talked about it. He said, okay, a very, very long time ago, for 66 glorious days, the Germa and the Vinsmokes, you know, my ancestors, ruled over the entire North Blue. We don't know exactly what led them to control the North for that 66 days, and we also don't know what led to their downfall after the 66 days. But we do know that there's a bunch of kings and queens that rule over the North right now. They're probably mostly part of the world government, and Judge's aim is to live up to his ancestors, the dream that they once had that was taken to them so quickly. Hey, they had like 2 months. 2 months ruling over the North. I mean, that's something to be proud of, right? Like, look at America. Texas was its own country for a couple of years there. And now, I mean, well, yeah, Yeah, I've never been to Texas, but it's basically its own country also. So, I mean, yeah, right? Okay. So, you know, they did some stuff there, but we don't exactly know the circumstances, what led to it and what led to its downfall. But, you know, they could be considered royalty in that regard. So, Judge is extremely proud of his heritage, so much so that he has this giant painting in his study that's like him lording over all of the other rulers of the North Blue, like their severed heads are on the floor, and he's holding up the crown, and he's like, I am the true king of this land. I mean, honestly, it's just the North he's talking about here. Judge is not talking about taking over the world or, you know, burning down the world government, you know, to rule over everything on top of Marijois or anything like that. He just wants to rule over the North. I mean, you know, I mean, like, at least it's in the realm of feasibility, right? Especially if he would have made the whole Big Mom alliance work out. Like, if Big Mom wasn't trying to, like, bamboozle him, like, if they were actually going to work together, he probably could have achieved that goal for the Germa, right? And I mean, Judge is an asshole. He totally is, the way he treats Sanji and everything. But, you know, there was that moment where he starts to cry, and it's just like, but we rolled over the ocean for 2 months, and that's all we had, and I just want to get that back. Can I not just massacre all of the queens and kings of the North and just get my title back? Come on, this isn't fair! Okay, that actually didn't make me feel... Now that I actually say it out loud, that didn't make me feel bad for Judge. He was still... He was still a douche nugget. Like, let's just be straight up there. Most of the Germa siblings were, except for Reiju and Sanji, represented here. And of course, you know, when I was making the thumbnail for this video, I'm like, alright, it's the Germa Kingdom. I mean, Judge is the leader. He's like the king, so I should put him in the thumbnail, but... Reiju's boobs have a very persuasive personality about them, you know? So, there you go, right? Okay. So as I said earlier, yeah, the kingdom itself is an entire massive mobile fortress, okay? And when you think of it, you probably don't think it's like that. Well, it's big, but how big is it? Like, is it actually as big as an entire island? And the answer is yes. So the ship can actually break up into little mini ships, which are still like giant galleons. Like, they just dwarf the size. Like, here's a size comparison with the Sunny and just one of the fragments of the Germa kingdom. It's freaking huge. It just towers over the Sunny, okay? So imagine like a bunch of these all interlocking, clicking together, and then you have this entire mobile fortress the size of an island where an entire kingdom resides on, with like a castle and a town and all the things that, you know, the people there need to survive, and it can literally be towed anywhere in the world via the giant sea slugs that I mentioned. The sea slugs are probably relatives of the Den Mushi, you know, and they seem to work the same basic way, where as long as the Den Mushi are fed and provided for by the humans, they lend their aid. Alright, the sea slugs are very practical, not just for the sense of like towing around the fortress anywhere in the ocean, but because the slugs are also capable of climbing the red line. So whenever the Germa get hired, you know, they're mercenaries, whenever they get hired to go to another ocean to fight some wars, like going from the North Blue to the East Blue, that would normally be a massive undertaking. You would have to go basically first into the Grand Line, you'd have to go up Reverse Mountain somehow, back into the ocean in the Grand Line, and then sail up through the Calm Belt into the east. That's normally how you could get from the north to the east. But in this situation, the Germa quite literally can just like clatch on to the side of the red line with their slugs and then just go straight up. The process of this takes a very long time because, you know, slugs are not known for their speediness, but also because the red line is just ridiculously tall, and then they get to the top and have to travel there, and then they have to travel straight down. It took about 3 weeks for them to go from the north up the red line, across the top, down in the bottom, into the East Blue. It took them about 3 weeks to do that, but they're capable of doing that, so the barrier of the red line does not really encumber them at all. I also started to think, like, you know, those sea slugs that the Germa had, they're probably not, like, the only sea slugs that exist. So are there just, like, huge, giant slugs swimming in the ocean that at any time could latch onto the red line and just start, you know, squishing their way up toward Marijois? I find that hilarious. Like, imagine working as a guard in Marijois, and you wake up and you're, like, patrolling the side of the red line, making sure no fisher tigers raid Marijois again, and you're tired, and you're like, oh, hey, Bill. Hey, Dave, what's up? Not much. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Yeah, well, what was that? It was probably nothing, you know. I drank a lot, like, oh, God. Is it happening again? And they go to the edge of the red line and they look straight down and they just see this giant sea slugs like emerge. Oh my God! Sound the slug alarm! they're back! You know, get the giant buckets of salt! Hurry, hurry! It's like that tactic that they used with, like, castles and fortresses back in the day. Like, if you were attacking a castle and you were trying to get over their wall, like, you would, like, lay down a ladder and try to climb over, the guards on the wall would just, like, have giant boulders, like, they could throw down, or, like, vats of boiling water or oil and just, you know, like, douse the people as they're trying to climb up, you know? So, it's something like that. Because it's like the thing that Marijois, the world government, fears the most. It's like the Revolutionary Army breaking into Marijois, the pirates, the Yonko, of course, Fisher Tiger did it that one time, but also the giant sea slugs are also on that list. They're more of like a minor menace, but it's like every once in a while one has to wander up to Marijois and they have to take care of it, right? That would be kind of funny, but yeah. Other than that, or the Germa actually, like, scientifically develop the sea slugs themselves, because it might not look like, he might not look like much of a brainiac, but Judge is actually a brilliant scientist. I know, I was just as surprised as you when Oda dropped that information, right? You know, like, yes, he's a very large, pompous man, but he's also a genius with biology, and he's, like, cracked the human genome and stuff. I'm like, really? That guy did that. Okay, Oda, fine. Now, to be fair, he worked with Vegapunk back in the day, so I don't know if Vegapunk did maybe more of the legwork here. I'm just picturing Judge wearing a lab coat and goggles with a mustache in his hair, you know, messing around with some beakers. It's like, Vegapunk, I've cracked the nugget, you know. So they worked together a very long time ago, and it's through that research that Judge got his hands on cloning technology. Now, much like how human cloning is in our world, it's not really accepted in the One Piece world too much. It's, the world government finds out about that, and they're like, human cloning, yeah, we're gonna outlaw that. You're not allowed to do that, okay? So the world government has to keep that kind of, I mean, the German kingdom kind of has to keep that on the hush-hush from the world government, especially since they want to try to join the world government. I guess I should talk about that for a little bit there. It's kind of the same situation with the Kano kingdom. So, like, the Kano kingdom in the West Blue is its own kingdom that's part of the world government, but then you have Sai and Don Chinjiao that are part of the Happo Navy that are pirates. And you even see Sai at the world government at Reverie, so it's like, how does that work? So I'm assuming, like, there's a kingdom side to this, and then there's the actual, like, piratey side of this that are doing illegal activities, and the world government either turns its nose to it and doesn't actually it knows what's going on, but they just like, okay, fine, they just turn a blind eye to it, or they just do a really good job of separating one from the other, because the German kingdom, like, on the surface is an actual fully operational kingdom, you know, Judge is the king, you know, and the Vinsmokes, like Reiju and everybody, are the royal family, and they have the citizens that are living in the kingdom, but then you have those mysterious, the Germa, those Super Sentai soldiers that show up that are mercenaries. That's something completely different, you know? This guy and this guy, completely different people, right? This is the prince, and then this other one is the mercenary, right? Okay, yeah, that's how that goes, right? So there is a divide there, but anyway, yeah. So the cloning thing, right? Yonji actually shows this to Sanji when he arrives there. It's a giant cloning tank with little pods with people inside of it, so pretty much right out of the Clone Wars from, like, Star Wars. It actually looks remarkably similar. And he's like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make a bunch of clones, and actually the clones are the people that make up the entire population of the Germa kingdom outside of the Vinsmokes themselves. There are a few maids that serve, like, the medical ward and work in the kitchens and, like, do, like, the cleaning work and stuff, like maids and, you know, janitors and stuff like that. But when it comes down to, like, the bulk of the citizens that are all soldiers, they are all clones. All right, and the clones are actually divided into different categories. There's 6 categories. We got the WB category, which of course stands for Warner Brothers, so they're cloning, like, Bugs Bunny and stuff. We have the MR category, which of course is Mr. Now, I was trying to decide if it either stood for Mr. Peanut or Mr. Rogers, because weaponizing both of them could be extraordinarily devastating. Mr. Peanut, you ever get a peanut? You ever choke on a peanut? I mean, you don't want that. And then Mr. Rogers, I mean, you might think he's all innocent and stuff, but he did win the Ultimate Showdown, so you don't want to, you don't want to sleep on Mr. Rogers. Then you got the MB category, which of course stands for Marlon Brando. So you're gonna try to make clones of Marlon Brando, so be careful there. He will mess you up. You got the MH category, and the MH category was a little bit, I had a hard time trying to figure this out, but it basically come down to a little known disease that needs more awareness: malignant hyperthermia. which is, I guess, what happens when your body reacts very violently to anesthesia. It can result in a very high fever and, you know, a lot of bad things happening to you. So they're trying to clone that. That's not good, right? You got the MST category, which of course stands for Mountain Standardized Time Zone. Yeah, and then you have MSP, which of course stands for Manatee Super Predator. They're breeding and cloning super predator manatees. Oh, the humanity! Okay, so that's, I don't know if any of those jokes landed. If they did, I've done my job. If not, let's just move right along to what they actually mean. So basically how these work is that the first letter of these categories for the clones stand for the clone's gender. W for woman, M for man. Okay, and then the next letters stand for what they're, like, genetically, you know, built for. So WB is woman balance, just like an all-around balanced, like, woman. And then MB is man balanced, also, once again, just an all-around balanced male. And then you have MH, which is man heavy. So basically making like a big, kind of tanky, really sturdy, has a lot of stamina and stuff like that. He's just built like a tank. He does have a lot of strength, but he's built more for endurance rather than just brute strength, because that's the MST category, man strength. These are like slightly smaller than the heavies, but they got the muscles, they work out, and then they're built for actually like heavy lifting and punching and fighting and stuff like that. Then you have the MSP, which is the man speed category, shorter males that are really quick and agile. And then you have the MR category, which is the man reach category, which are very tall, like men that can, like, their long limbs and stuff, and then, you know, the advantages that come with that. So those are the different categories for the clones. And the clones themselves don't actually know they're clones, because basically, on top of like engineering their bodies, Yonji explained that they can basically make a fully grown clone within just 5 years. So you can go from the fetal stage all the way to a 20-year-old adult with only 5 years. And apparently the clones are none the wiser to this. They're completely just, it just seems normal to them. But they're also engineering on top of their bodies, also their minds as well, kind of the same way that the Vinsmoke siblings were conditioned in a similar way with like various drugs and stuff. So at the end of the day, they're basically engineered so they have to obey the family. Just like Reiju and her siblings, they have to obey Judge when he gives a direct order. She cannot go against that order. The same thing with all the clone soldiers as well. To the point where even when Sanji and Judge were fighting, you know, Judge is just like, wall, and then like soldiers just like immediately just run right up in front of Judge, and they get impaled on his spear, and they serve as a human shield, and they die right there perfectly fine and just willing to, like, yes, that is my duty, that is my programming. Okay, so they can mess with their minds as well, basically programmed to the point where, you know, you can never rebel, you can never basically think for yourself. I mean, there's a little bit of free will because they do have their own personalities to an extent. They, like, when Sanji was apparently dead, when he died, they did show sympathy, they were excited for the wedding, so they're not like robots, they're not just like, yes, I will wake up at this time and I will eat my, you know, required food, and then I will go train for 10 hours, then I will relax for 2 hours, then I will go to bed and I will restart my next function in the next, you know, the next moon cycle or moon, like sun cycle or whatever the hell. They're not robots in that sense. They can't think for themselves, but there's just certain like blocks put in their mind where they can't think about certain things. They're basically like Terminators, now that I think about it. Like in T2, he's just like, you know, Skynet wishes me not to learn. It's placed a blocker in my brain where I cannot think about, you know, for certain things. Like, certain things are just not accessible to them. Probably something similar with the clones, right? And, you know, it's really messed up in a number of ways, but it basically shone true throughout the entire arc. Like, we never had a moment where the clones, like looked at themselves and thought to themselves, like, what are we, number 452? It's like, we are Germa soldiers, number 451. Like, I know, but haven't you ever wanted to just be something more? I wish to be more than a soldier. I wish to be someone that sings. And then their brain just gets fried. Like, oh, that one's showing a little bit too much individuality. It's like, that one wants to be a Broadway singer, now that one's a failure. I mean, it's messed up, but if any of the soldiers ever did exhibit that kind of mentality, there's probably a kill switch somewhere in the lab, right? I'm just saying there's probably like, all right, that 451 didn't work out, pull the switch. You know, that's the kind of cruelty, and that's basically the overall motif of what we're doing here with the Germa kingdom. So yeah, don't mess with them there. But yeah, there's their clone army. A lot of other countries in the world envy the Germa for this reason, because the people on the outside, they don't know they're clones, because that's kept really hush-hush. So everyone else in the world just thinks they have this perfect, you know, the perfect citizens, the perfect populace that just obeys the king and the royal family without question, and they're the ultimate soldiers and all that stuff. And so the clone soldiers are actually a big asset to like the Big Mom family. Like, she wants that technology. Like, imagine if Big Mom had the technology to clone her own children, you know, so you could just have Katakuri clones walking all over the place. That would be horrifying, right? You know, Katakuri oven clones. Make the clones a flambe. I mean, that would be horribly devastating. That would end the world right there. So you could see the appeal here. Also, Big Mom, her whole thing was having a big family. She's a big mom, but literally and metaphorically. And so she's getting on in years, though, because she didn't really have any kids in the last few years, because she's, you know, at that point in her life. So you could see, while, you know, oh, I can get access to the cloning technology of the Germa, plus all the other technology they had, like the raid suits and stuff, that's good. But the cloning technology, I can still continue to grow my family, you know, even at this point in my life. You know, you can make clones and you'll be set, right? Oh, could you clone things like hockey? That would be horrifying if you could. If you could clone observation hockey, like if they did clone Katakuri, would they all have his future sight hockey? Oh, that would be weird. Even if they didn't have it right away, they might have the potential for it if it's like a true clone, like similar, like right down to the cellular, like molecular level. Then I guess they would have the potential to all awaken that, like, future sight hockey and that armament hockey and the Conquerors even. Clone someone with Conquerors. You have, like, an army of Conquerors hockey users. You can see why Big Mom wanted this now, right? And then while she was willing to just, like, you know, ruin all of the Germa, get them out of the picture, make sure they're not around, and then just take over everything, I guess she would maybe have to leave Judge alive, because someone has to, like, teach her how to use the clone. Like, this is, like, the human lineage factor and, like, the human genome. This isn't, like, just take a piece of Katakuri's flesh, toss it in a machine, pull a switch, and you already have, like, an army coming out of the tube. It's a little bit more complicated than that. So, you know, she probably would have left Judge alive to tell her how to use it, but beyond that, she was just trying to get rid of all of the Germa, and so have all the soldiers just work for her afterwards, right? Yeah. Something else of note, and going along with the Kamen Rider Super Sentai theme, is that if you take a look here at the throne room of the Germa, you could definitely see some similarities to the Shocker organization. I haven't really seen any of Kamen Rider. I'm a Power Rangers kid through and through. I've seen some of Super Sentai seasons, not really getting to Kamen Rider, but yeah, Shocker is like the villain organization from that, and this is their logo, and this is the Germa logo, so you can see a similarity there. The reason why it's a bird, and I actually had to do a little bit of research into this, so Judge's title, you know how like all the Vinsmokes, all the Germa have a title, like Sanji is Stealth Black, Reiju is Poison Pink. Judge is Garuda. And I'm like, what the hell's a Garuda? So I had to look into that, and Garuda is like, it's something from Hindu and Taoist and Buddhist teachings. It's basically a bird that would carry a Vishnu on it, so it's like a godly bird, think of it that, like a godly, you know, transport, you know, that they have, okay? So it makes sense in that regard there, but there's also similarities back between the Kamen Rider organization and the Garuda from, like, the mythology aspect of it, and then Garuda himself, you know, Judge, that's his epithet, that's like his title when he activates his cloak and his spear and everything like that. So there's similarities there. And also, I can't, you know, help but mention the similarities between the Germa and, you know, the Third Reich. I mean, it's definitely there if you look at it. Oda definitely took some cues from that. Also, this made me feel really stupid, but is that the reason why it's Germa? Because Germany... Germa, that might be where Oda got the name of the country. I'm pretty sure, maybe, in fact. But yeah, the similarities are there, especially since Judge wanting to create a perfect race of clone humans. You can see it. Plus, just look at the throne room. The overall aesthetic is definitely there. I wanted to talk about the flag of the Germa as well, because of course they're a kingdom, they have to have a flag. So this is the flag of the Germa in the manga, and this is the flag of the Germa in the anime. You could see they removed one of the lines in the anime, and I'm not exactly sure why they did that, although I do have some ideas, but for that we're gonna have to pull out the directory of flags, because of course if you love geography, I mean geography is everything, but you have to understand that flags are more of like you know, the son or daughter of geography. You know, that's basically their relationship there. So let's put on my glasses here, because I'm going to be looking at a flag dictionary. I, of course, have to wear my glasses, yes. All right, so we're going to be looking... Give me a sec here. I love this book, by the way. I love flags. Here we go. The Nordic countries, yes. I'm sure many of my Nordic fans, if you're from Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, if you're from any of those regions, the manga variant of this flag will definitely look similar to you. So first we have the Finnish flag, the flag of Finland, the flag of Sweden, yeah, starting to see some comparisons there. The flag of Norway, yes, and the flag of Iceland, yes, there you go. And then ending it out with, oh, there's also the Faroe Islands, which are also located in... Everyone read Vinland Saga, you know exactly where the Faroe Islands are. But yeah, they also have a similar flag. Greenland's the one that messed up. Greenland, come on, you're also part... What's this circle crap, okay? I mean, it's a cool one, but yeah. And then Denmark is over here. I didn't forget about you, Denmark. I know my Danish fans... Wait, Danish, is that from... No, the Dutch are from the Netherlands, the Danes are from Denmark. Yeah, that's how that works. Okay, cool. I know there's some of my Danish fans right now that are like, wait a second, you didn't show our flag. Yeah. They crammed you in between, for some reason, they crammed you in between Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Denmark's all the way over here, and all the Nordic countries are on these pages together. So don't blame me, blame the book, okay? Just, you know what? For some extra added fun, just because I care about you, Denmark. I'll read this for you. Okay, your capital city is Copenhagen, of course, which is actually a brand of chewing tobacco here in the States. Your population is, of course, 5.5 million. That's more people than I thought it would be. You use the Danish krone, which sounds like a breakfast pastry to me, but that is, of course, your currency. And the Danish flag is also known as the Danebrog. Probably mispronouncing that, which means the cloth of the Danes. All right, so there you go. There are your poorly pronounced Danish facts for the day. But anyway, so you could definitely see the comparison there, you know, the similarity. So I'm thinking maybe the reason why the anime department changed it was because since the Germa does have, like, you know, the Third Reich overtones to it, they didn't want to compare it to, like, an actual country flag that exists. They didn't want it to be like, oh yeah, here's the Swedish flag that looks remarkably like the Germa flag, and the Germa are like... Yeah, so maybe that's the reason they changed it. That's just a theory, though. A geography theory. Thanks for watching. But we're not quite done yet with the video. Okay, so on top of the cloning tech, they also have some other technology. As I said, the raid suits themselves. And the reason I'm doing this video now, by the way, is because we just got Stealth Black Soba Mask Sanji in the last episode of the One Piece anime. So see how it all ties in together? So yeah, we got that. On top of, like, the suit looking badass in and of itself, though, it's got the bubble things on the soles of the feet, so allow them to jump really high. Sanji can already jump really high, so that just augments his skills even more. You got the thrusters on the back of the heels, which I think in the preview for that episode it said, like, he can you know, fire off the thrusters at light speed. So I think that's just, you know, building up hype. He's like, I don't think Sanji can actually travel at light speed, because there's a couple of problems with that. Although there was that one opening, I think it was Hard Knock Days, correct me if I'm wrong, there was that one opening where we saw Sanji clashing with Kizaru. So if Sanji's gonna fight Kizaru at the end of the story, he does need to move at light speed. I mean, so we'll just leave it at that, right? The one thing I really liked that they added in the anime, we didn't really see it in the manga. We kind of saw it in the manga, but it looks cooler in the anime, of course. It's that the cape, like, has a defensive property to it, and when Page One went to go claw Sanji's cape, the cape, like, created a shield. Kind of, like, not unsimilar to, like, the Wakandan shields from Black Panther, where they have, like, the cloth they put out, and then it creates, like, a laser, like, energy shield around them, like a force field. Kind of like that. That might have honestly maybe have been where, Oda got the inspiration for that. I don't read Marvel comics too much, but are, like, the cloth shield things that they used, like the fabric shields in Black Panther and, like, Endgame, and are they they in the comics as well? Because if they're in the comics, then maybe Oda was a fan of that, and he saw that, and he's like, let's just do that. So Page One went to go claw Sanji, and like this hexagonal energy shield came out of the cloak and like protected him. That was really cool. So they have technology for warfare, because that's pretty much all they do. Clone and fight. Clone and fight. Occasionally they'll hold a wedding party, but mostly clone and fight. Yeah. So where are the Germa at right now? Well, they were about to become members of the world government and attend Reverie, and then the whole thing with Big Mom got out, and so the world government wants nothing to do with them, and then Big Mom was obviously trying to double cross them, so I'm sure they managed to escape Totland, but now they're in little, probably choppy waters, okay? I think the smartest thing for them to do right now, I mean, I guess they could still stay in the Grand Line and try to figure out, like, lay low for a little while to figure out what to do, but other than that, they would probably have to return to the north. Their plans have sort of failed, though, so I don't know if Judge wants to do that. Judge might have been planning on forming the alliance with Big Mom, getting her power, going back to the north, and like, all right, time to finally conquer this place, you know? But now that he doesn't have that, and he also doesn't have the ally of the world government, he's kind of on his own. So he still has his whole country, he still has clones that he can make, so he's not lacking in terms of manpower or anything, and he's still got his children to work for him, but he can't really, I don't think he'll return to the north until he's sure he can conquer it again, and so for right now, he might just be hanging out, laying low on some island in the Grand Line in the New World, and then maybe he'll end up, you know, running into the Straw Hats again at some point. Maybe he'll come up with some other plan to try to figure out a way to take over the north, to get something. Maybe he might be going after an ancient weapon next, or something. Like, okay, well, the Big Mom thing didn't work out, but if we can get our hands on Pluton, we could totally conquer the north. Which, I mean, he could, so yeah. And maybe, like figure out what Pluton is, and then, like, weaponize it, like modify it with the Germa tech to make, like, a super advanced, like, laser Neo-Pluton or something like that. I don't know. But, yeah, I feel like the Germa are not just gonna go back home, because if they do that, we'll probably never see them again. And I want to see, at least Reiju again, right, for obvious reasons, but I want to see the Germa show up again, right? Not right now in Wano or anything, but like maybe later on during Laugh Tale or something later on in the story, I want to see the Germa pop in again. You know, that would be kind of interesting to see them again. But we'll see where that goes, I guess. That's pretty much everything I have for you today. So I guess I'll end up this video here with another flag fact for you. I know I was gonna do that thing at the end of every Geography is Everything where I was gonna give you a real world fact, and I kind of just stopped doing that. But now that I have this flag dictionary, I could just read from you interesting flag facts. So we'll do another Nordic country. We'll do not Latvia. We'll do, we did Denmark. Let's do Sweden. I've always had a soft spot for Sweden. I would love to visit you guys in Sweden someday. The design of the Swedish flag is probably related to that of the Danish flag. Okay, we already covered that. The cross extending to each edge of the flag with the vertical arm toward the hoist side also occurs in other Nordic flag designs such as the Finnish, Norwegian. Okay, you're already doing a great job of telling me things I already knew. The Swedish flag is the same as a lot of other Nordic flags. Give me something distinctive. The distinctive blue and yellow colors of the Swedish flag date back to the 14th century and are thought to come from the country's ancient coat of arms, which features 3 golden crowns on a blue ground. Records show that the flag was used from the 16th century when it was decreed that the yellow cross should always be borne on Swedish battle standards and banners. However, the present version of the flag was not officially adopted till 1906. Play the Swedish national anthem. Let's end it out. Signing out, everybody.